There he is, AJ Bianco. We're live.
What's up, man?
What's going on, my guy?
Everything's good. How are you?
Everything's good. We're going to have some fun with this episode, I think.
Okay, sounds good to me.
I got some questions. I think based on what we want to do tonight, I've got this narrowed down to, I think, 4 possible questions/topics that we can kind of hit on,
Okay.
and a little bit of a different flavor as I've gone out to the internet to find things to talk about.
Okay.
Internet's a powerful place.
Absolutely.
All right, just let me get into my notes. All right, yeah. Yeah, I think this will work. All right. I'm going to hit the buttons and we're going to do the things.
Whatever you want to do. Let's go.
All right, just let me make sure. Oh, of course, it's not going to record. All right, it is what it is. Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
Coming up on episode 138 of Podcast PD, AJ and I have gone out to the internet to find interesting educational topics to talk about. Let's start the show. This is Podcast PD, the show that provides you with anytime, anywhere professional development. Our conversations and guests will provide you with the learning you might get in a faculty meeting or on a PD day. Except you're going to have more fun with AJ Bianco and me, Chris Nessie. Let's start the show. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Maybe you're joining us live on a Sunday night. But my name is Chris. We are here on Podcast PD. It's episode 138. And I'm joined, as always, by the Podcast Paisano.
Here I am.
AJ Bianco. What's up, man?
Hello, hello, hello.
It's been too long.
It's been about a month.
That's a good thing I don't hold my breath when you say you're going to text me.
I always text you. What are you talking about? We texted like 2 weeks ago.
All right, maybe I'm looking for like the amount of texting I see my students do, which is like.
I don't know. I don't have time for that.
Oh, okay.
I hardly have enough time to like actually.
Sometimes I feel like I have enough time to text you, and then I'm just like, oh, maybe he's working. Even
Probably.
though I'm also working.
Yeah, it's different work.
Different work. How's everything?
Everything's good. Busy. Baseball is like in full swing right now, so panic is ensuing.
Why are you panicking? It's a game.
No. I'm just talking about like how I'm going to get kids to games. Like 2 boys playing on 3 teams apiece, traveling to different locations is a little difficult. But we're
give
managing.
your oldest son a phone and get him the Uber app. He'll figure it out.
No, get out of here with the phone nonsense. We're good.
I'm kidding.
We good.
We good. Well,
how are you?
I was going to say, since you asked, everything is good.
I was about to. Give me a second.
No, I'm feeling good. You know, I mean, school is tough. It hasn't gotten any easier being an educator. And I mean,
you don't say.
No, you don't say. Let's see. This week I got 2 weeks ago I had my unannounced observation for the year.
Congratulations.
So that's done, and I got
done. Check.
I got my rough draft of the write up, right, with the score and everything.
That's a thing, but all right.
Score is good, and don't have to worry about that now.
All right. Way to go.
Way to go.
Way to go.
I'm a good teacher based on seeing numbers. Me do what I do for 40 minutes.
Yes.
Total.
You did it.
How's your year going there?
It's going. Powering through. Just making sure everything is where it needs to be as we lead into April.
April.
Almost testing season, so things are about to get crazy.
We'll talk off the air about the wonderful parts of April.
Yeah, we can talk about that. I think May might be worse than April.
Oh my, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. Testing, that's what it's going to come down to.
Real quick, before we get into the questions, a little bit of a different topic. I'm in the process of planning my 25-year high school reunion.
Oh my God.
I'm old, but it's been interesting.
Well, I mean, I need a little more than that. Like,
here are some things that I've learned. One, people even at my age of, in that 42 to 43 year range.
Advanced age? Yes, your advanced age.
My advanced age. people don't really care
No,
about a high school reunion.
no.
I've also learned that people my age, outside of like what I do, they don't check their email,
Hmm.
which is a foreign concept to me to not check my email on a regular basis.
Yeah. I mean, responding to it is one thing, but checking it,
Yeah, like I was
you
just
gotta
on a
check it.
call, and the two, I would say the two girls, two girls that we went
Yeah,
to school
girls, they're
together.
females. Hmm?
That we decided we're going to send out another survey
Okay.
to members of my class,
Hmm.
and they're like, oh, like some of the feedback that like we've gotten, maybe we need more choices and stuff on the survey, and I'm like, I've made
You
enough
don't, but
surveys.
that's,
we don't
yeah.
need a
How
lot
many
of
choices
options.
you don't need much.
Yeah, this is like a second survey, so to try
Yeah.
and narrow it
No,
down. But it's
no.
just interesting because, I work in high school and it's like I'm a part of high school every day. And to kind of reflect and think about, wow, it's been 25 years this June since I graduated high school. It's
Yeah, you
crazy.
don't. Ugh.
What year did you graduate high school?
No, I'm right behind you. This would be year 24 for me. I'm
Okay,
2000.
so you graduated in 2000.
2000. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But like we were supposed to have our reunion, and then COVID.
Oh.
And after that, I don't think we even talked about like, hey, why don't we do this again? No.
Were you involved in that process or were you just
No.
informed of something that was going to happen?
Come on, am I even for? No, I was not involved. I don't care. I probably would have gone if it was like.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm not. Look, can I just be honest?
Go ahead.
Like
Go ahead.
this is my feeling on all of this.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
the people that I liked in high school, I still talk to. The people that I don't, well, I shouldn't say that I don't like. The people that really were like in my life and then out of my life, I don't talk to them anymore. It's kind of like real life now. If I'm talking to you, we're good. If we've stopped talking,
Oh,
I'm not
thank
going to
goodness.
rekindle 24 years of like, what have you been up to for 24 years?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Like, what's the conversation going to be like? Hey, I have kids now. Wow, a lot has changed. Yes, we're no longer 18 years old.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, look, would I have gone to the high school reunion at year 20? Probably, because it probably would have been nice to see some people.
Yeah.
Now that we didn't do it, I don't care.
Yeah. Well,
Does that make sense?
You're right. The people, I mean, I don't see a lot of people on a regular basis. I don't have friends that I'm texting and calling from, back in the day, other than I think I've told you, I might have mentioned it in the last couple of years. I go once a year and I play horseshoes with the guys.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
You know?
I don't have friends that I talk to from the day.
I didn't have friends in the day.
If it wasn't for sports, I'd have nobody.
Yeah, true.
Oh, well. Like, hey, look, out there, if you're Spring Valley
Do you
class
think you
of
and I
20
could have been friends 24, 25 years ago when we were
Yeah, you
juniors
play
and seniors?
baseball.
Okay.
You play baseball. We've been all right.
We'd have been cool.
Yeah, we've been cool. I didn't expand my zone besides like the kids that like I played sports with all my life.
Oh, okay.
We played ball together in middle school. Like we played soccer, we played basketball, we played flag football, we did all that kind of stuff. Like we were cool. But here, we're on a podcast about education. That's what's going on in our world right now. That's the problem with our students, right? I see it in my school as middle school kids. They don't know how to talk to people. They don't know how to be like, let's go outside and play. Everything has to be like coordinated, like
Yeah.
whether it's parents coordinating it, whether it's through technology, whatever the case may be. Like we used to just go outside and be like, you come on, you want catch this. And we didn't care.
Yeah.
Right. I'm finding it now that kids are just really just not doing that kind of stuff unless it's like an organized sport.
Yeah.
There were times where like when I was coaching,
we both know that parents are the worst part of youth sports.
Of course. But there were times that like I was coaching the boys, my older boys, like Ryan's age, right?
Yeah.
So whether they were 8, 9, 10 years old, we're like, look, we're not going to have practice next week for X, Y, and Z reason. You guys can still go throw with each other. It's okay. Just like, let's find a time. Go play. You don't need us to run the practice. You can have a catch in the backyard.
Yeah.
And I just don't think like kids want to do that, I guess. They like that organized aspect. Everything is just so much part of like, here's my schedule. Here's what I'm going to do as my parents told me. It's very difficult for them to like go out of their comfort zone.
Yeah. I mean, and I tell my own boys, like, go outside, just go, get on your bikes, wear your
Mm,
helmets. You know the neighborhood. Don't get hit by a car. And they're like, nah,
right. Right. Don't get dead.
yeah, don't get dead. I think we were gonna put that on a T-shirt. You've said that before.
That's from Speed.
Oh, okay, but I think you've
Remember
also
that?
said it.
I have. It's one of my lines. Like, you know the movie Speed, right?
Yes, yes.
That's what he always said to his partner
Don't get
until he
dead.
died. Which, sorry, spoiler, if you haven't seen Speed 40 years ago.
Real quick, Stephanie Scrocky in the chat room. Hey guys, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you, Stephanie.
Happy Sunday to you.
And to the 3 other people watching, identify yourselves. Leave a comment wherever you might be watching.
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
leave a comment because it's fun.
Yeah, we interact. All right. Speaking
We
of
do.
interacting, I
Let's
went
do
out
it.
to the internet and I got a couple things we could talk about.
Sweet.
All right. So this comes. I went out to Reddit.
Oh, okay.
And
You
I did
just
get
go
a
to like
response. I'm
you
going to
just
save
go
the
to like
last
the
one
most
for
random things. All right, go ahead, Reddit.
Wait, what'd you say?
No, like Reddit. I don't go to Reddit. Reddit,
Okay.
Switch. What do you do? Stitch?
So,
I don't know what it is.
what? Shut up.
I don't know.
This is from
Okay.
r/teaching. So this is like an old school form. Here we go.
So what does it mean?
All right. Is professional development useful? Here's what the person said. From my experience, most professional development is a hindrance. The strategies proposed are too time consuming to be practiced. For example, day plans that are 4 pages long. Also, the advice is too politically correct. Example, we are not allowed to raise our voices to be viable in the real world. What do you think? AJ, is professional development useful?
I mean, if that's the professional development you're getting, no. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, what is that? Like raising voices. Like, I mean, it's gonna have to happen. Like, it shouldn't always happen.
Right. I mean, you
But
shouldn't be
like,
like screaming and berating
right,
students,
exactly.
but
That's just not appropriate.
we do all have teacher voice.
Yeah, or teacher look, which is just the same as a voice. But like, if that's your professional development, like, no, that's not meaningful at all.
Yeah.
And when they say too politically correct,
Yeah. So also, the advice is too politically correct. For example, we are not allowed to raise our voices. So
I wonder
the advice is
what
too
else goes
politically
with
correct
that.
to be viable in the real world.
I'm
Meaning,
not
maybe this
sure.
person is saying, the PD that they're getting isn't really applicable to what they do in the classroom, and it's not realistic. I mean, I've often felt that sometimes these trainers that come in from these companies or etc. They're not in the classroom. Maybe they were at some point,
Right.
but
I mean,
what are you doing now?
I mean, let's just be honest for a second here. A lot of what we do, even when you go to conferences, that professional development is not always appropriate. Like, that's why, for Ed Camp especially, we follow the rule of 2 feet. If it doesn't work for you, get out. Unfortunately, for schools, a lot of it is more mandated, and we can't do that. And I get that. And not every PD is going to be worthwhile for every person. Not every department needs the same thing. So, like, I think that's why PD needs to be catered to specific learning areas.
Yeah. Teachers should have more of a say, like from supervisors, from district administrators. PD should be designed to get people the PD that they need, not one size fits all, not, everybody's got to do the same thing because that's what's equitable. No, that's equal. Everybody getting PD.
Mm-hmm.
You got to diversify your PD portfolio.
Right. I mean, like, for example, a big push in my district has been DEI, has been SEL. And that's definitely something that works for everybody, because there are aspects of that we need to understand, whether it's within our curriculum or whether it is within our student population, that fits, right? We need that. We need the mental health aspect. We need the SEL. We need the DEI. But I'm not going to sit through a PD that's understanding how to use math equations,
Right.
like, if we're sitting there putting together PD that's, for example, AI related, like, that probably works for everybody in some way. You might not sit there for an entire PD and agree with everything that you can use in your classroom, but I think the idea of AI can be a benefit for every teacher at some point.
Let me ask you this as an administrator. Obviously, we
It's
know
me.
that as teachers, sometimes we are in PDs that
apply to what we do, and we're kind of feeling like, why am I
Hmm.
here?
Yeah, of course.
Have you experienced as an administrator being in PD where you felt that way, but in your role where like, yeah, I get this is for administrators, but this doesn't really fit with what, like, you didn't feel it was personalized enough for you as an admin?
Um, I don't think I've had enough PD as an admin right now that I used to have as a teacher. I think that's one thing that I would like to see more of. I would like more PD for admin, right? Um, I have sat through PD sessions, for example. I've been saying, for example, all night tonight. I've sat through PD sessions.
Raise your glasses, folks.
There we go. With NJSLA training. A lot of the NJSLA training you have to do is mandatory, but I have to sit through a session that's about the NJGPA, which is only for high school.
Right.
Right. That doesn't work for me, but I have to sit there for that session because I have to get the time to count.
Yeah.
Right. That doesn't work. There are plenty of meetings that I go to that is focused on an administrative team, but maybe some of it is like a timeout in that meeting just to talk to the elementary principals or just talk to the supervisors, so like anywhere we go, we're going to have PD that doesn't fit or conferences that don't fit exactly what we're doing in our job description.
Speaking of PD that you recently got to attend, you got to go to Njamley.
I did.
How was that?
Oh my God. That was phenomenal. This is my first NJamley since before the pandemic, I guess. Right? Yeah, it must have been 2019. I think was the last time I went because I was supposed to go in 2020, but it got canceled. So, wonderful. I mean, my day was made the second I walked in the room. My man Baruti Kefele was doing the keynote.
Yeah.
So I didn't tell you what happened. I'm not.
I saw you posted a picture, but I'm sure there's more to it than a picture.
There's a lot more to it. And
did he autograph your chest?
No, but I walk in the room. I walked in a little late because coming from where I was coming from, I got stuck in a little traffic. I got there 8:33 instead of 8:30, right? Bruda Kefele is already up on stage, and he sees me from the back of the room, and he goes, I just got to stop right now. My man, AJ Bianco, just walked into the room. Dude, it stopped dead in my tracks. And I was like, oh, what? Dead in my tracks. And he goes, you didn't think I was going to call you out, did I? And I was like, I don't know what to say right now. I was like, thank you. I'm going to go sit down. So, yeah, I sat through his keynote, which was just inspiring by itself. And then one of his sessions, that was his first session about culture and climate. Just, he's phenomenal. And there were some very good sessions that I popped in on. And, it's good to see a lot of people doing some good work around us.
Now, you didn't lead. You had, I'm pretty sure you mentioned that you had only attended, right?
I only attended this time. Yeah, I did not. I was going back and forth whether I could actually present, and I decided just to go as a person. Maybe next year I'll present now that I know that like I was able to go. Nothing happened as I left the building. So
maybe next year you be the keynote.
I don't think that's going to be a possibility.
You're a middle school administrator. Why not?
I am.
He's an administrator.
There's many middle school administrators probably who are doing more than I am and better.
You stop. You got a story to tell for sure.
I don't really have a story to tell. All right. But I appreciate it.
Here's our next question. Also,
go ahead.
From Reddit. Okay,
here we go.
Here's what they say. If I were to get offered a position by a school, do I have time to decide? What's the standard protocol of how long to take before deciding to accept a position? I want to wait just a little bit to see what other schools say first and if they have an offer. I just feel like it's a gray area. Basically, how long... Oops, sorry, I clicked something.
It's
Basically,
okay.
How long does one have before they have to accept a job offer?
What do you think about that one, Chris? Where do you stay on that one? I have my ideas, but I'm very curious what you would say first.
I would say if you have an offer, I would never accept an offer immediately.
Correct.
So let's say I'm in an interview and they're like, hey, we want to offer you the job. I'm going to say, I need to go home and speak about it with my wife, or,
right.
if I'm, this sounds like a maybe first year teacher type situation. I would just say, can I have 24 hours to think about it?
I agree with that. Yeah.
So I would certainly create at least that type of buffer. if it happens immediately. But that's not always the case.
Correct.
You might interview on a Friday and get a phone call the following Tuesday, let's say, hey, you're the candidate we'd like to bring in. I would probably still say, thank you. I appreciate the offer. Would it be okay if I take 24 hours? So I'm basically saying 24 hours to take a day to decide and think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a tough one, right? There's so many variables here, right?
Well, okay, so maybe variables you're thinking. I would also say it depends on the time of year.
I was just going to say the same thing.
So okay, where are you going to go with that?
I was going to say the time of the year, the district that you're applying to, the position you're applying for. It could be, the desire that you have. Do you have other opportunities out there? I mean, there's a lot of things there. So, tell you my story real quick. I interviewed for a job. I was given the offer, and I wanted to say yes right there on the spot because I was dying to get an administrative job, and I wanted to be like yes, But to be honest, I had another interview for a district, and I opened my mouth and I said, "Look, I have another interview tomorrow that I would like to go with." And they later called me that night and were like, we're going to pull our offer back unless you don't go on the interview tomorrow. And I was like, tough call, but I had a relationship with the superintendent of the other district who kind of told me to go take that job because it was only a first round interview and it doesn't make sense to give up on something that you have when it's not something that for sure you would get or want. Right. So, you got to be careful if you're going to ask for time, just be aware of the repercussions if you ask for time. So I guess 24 hours would be ideal, but have a reason why and don't say you're going for another job.
Right. Yeah.
Look, I was hoping, the reason I said it was I was hoping they would up the offer a little bit because I feel like I was lowballed a little bit, but.
So, for example, my student teacher this year, John, the student teacher, he finished student teaching in December, and he'd been subbing in January and February, and I said, hey, apply for jobs. You never know what's out there.
Of course.
So he wound up applying for, and he had a bunch of interviews in a district, and he was offered a job, full-time, tenure track, that would run between about now and the end of the year. And it was in a school where he was like, all right, he saw the school and he was about it. And this other school was also interested in him, but did not come through with an offer.
Okay.
So he, called me and said, Chris, what do you think? I said, you've got an offer on the table.
Yep.
And while this might not be the ideal situation, it does give you the opportunity to do full-time teaching in your own classroom.
Yeah.
And you're not signing your life away. You'll be teaching from March to June. And if the school grows on you, you've got the in for being invited back next year. And now you've got a job.
Right.
I said, and if you're going through this, you're making a full-time salary. You're going to learn a ton doing it on your own with your own kids and everything. I said, you can keep applying. You can keep looking for jobs. And whatever days they give you, you can kind of use that time and you can go and interview. And, if you find a better opportunity, then at the end of the year, you can reject an offer or an invitation. And I said, really, you've got to give the whole, I explained the whole 60-day notice thing here in New Jersey. I said, really, even if you accept it, that you're still going to interview, if you can get another job secured, you want to do so really by July 4th-ish, right? You want to look at kind of September 1st and go back 60 days. So that way you don't owe a district any time and you can go to another position.
Exactly.
So, I mean, he wound up taking the job and, we spoke last week and he's
happy.
He's enjoying it so far. He's, meeting his kids, doing his thing, but
cool.
Just, he'll be fine.
And I think in a situation like that, it's a little bit different as well. Is if he interviewed in another district and interviewed in this district and they offered him the job, we ask our candidates that, in the time that we meet from now until the next time, or we talk to you, could you just let us know that you have another job offer? Because that might speed up the process for us, or just let's say thank you. we're not ready at this time, or you're not going to be the final candidate, or whatever the case may be. It kind of gives you a place to stand from. You're just like, hey, got another job offer. I would really like to work with you. I enjoyed the vibe, but like, just want to know where we're at. And if they say go take it, then you know where you're at.
Yeah. Do you find? I mean, we both speak to people, in and around education.
Mm-hmm.
I have other friends who they have told me like, oh, in my school, like, they interviewed somebody for such and such position, and the district dragged its feet, and they wound up moving on to another position, and it's somebody they would have hired, but they moved too slow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's happened. I mean, you got to. There's a lot of things there that I'm realizing more and more now in the role that I'm in, that you have to interview a certain amount of people. You have to go through certain processes. It's just the fact that also people don't always respond, or people can't always get on the same page with interviews or demo lessons. If you want certain people in the room to see the candidate, your schedule might be one thing, but another supervisor or superintendent or whatever the case may be may have other things. So, I think we're working in our district to make sure that we're not dragging our feet in anything. If we have a candidate that we know is our top candidate, that we tell the superintendent, assistant superintendent, supervisors, hey, this person is on our radar and we need to move quickly because they will get scooped up.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. It's unfortunate,
Might
but
be.
it makes sense, sort of.
Yeah. Because look, I gotta be honest. I've seen what's out there. You want those good candidates quickly.
Yep. And the good ones get hired quickly.
They sure do. Quickly.
Hopefully.
Man, right.
All right. We've got 2 more questions, one from Reddit, one from an actual human being that we know.
I know the question that's coming at the end. We're going to fight, but go ahead.
Do you?
I think I saw it.
I don't know that you did. We'll find out.
All right.
But first, do you find value in our conversations on Podcast PD? Do you want to support our efforts creating quality content for you? Well, guess what? You can. You can give back to Podcast PD on a monthly or a yearly basis. You can give $10 a month or $100 per year. I know that seems like a lot, but you only got to do it once a year. And you can help us continue bringing you insightful and engaging conversations. And again, this is something we're doing in this episode that we've never done before. As a thank you, if you become an executive producer, you'll receive an exclusive Podcast PD executive producer sticker. And if you do it for a year, you'll get the sticker, a mug, a t-shirt, and we do have hats available. We can get you a hat.
What?
Yes.
I've got the hats. Oh my gosh.
Maybe.
PD hats?
Yes. Arthur Johansson. Just keep an eye on your mailbox, maybe.
Oh my gosh. I don't wear hats anymore though, but that's all right.
If you want more information, visit podcastpd.com/executive producer. And we want to thank our current executive producers, Holly Landez, Sandy Hartman, and of course, Stephanie Scrocky.
Thank you.
And I do just want to say, Stephanie is most likely still watching, and 3 other people are watching. You haven't identified yourself. Put a comment in the chat, say hello, like the video.
All good. It's all good. Don't let them pressure you.
No, yeah. Hey.
Just leave a comment somewhere. Let us know that you're listening.
Let us know. All right. Our penultimate topic. Here you go. Here's the title. Just had the worst observation ever. Here we go. I don't think anything could have gone more wrong. I'm a practicum student right now, so I'm brand new to this. But I don't even think that is a good enough excuse for how awful things went. I had a PowerPoint that I spent time on with videos and pictures. I used PowerPoints plenty of times before in the class with no problem, but technology wasn't working today and I couldn't get it on, of course. I had the students go back to their desks and open to the wrong book and wrong page. My observer got the PowerPoint set up for me after what seemed like forever. I had the kids fill out this graphic organizer that I explained, but not well enough. I also didn't front load the reading to tell them what to be looking for. They were very confused, and I don't think I was able to clarify. The lesson went a couple of minutes into recess, and the pacing of the lesson was awful. I just want to crawl in a hole. I had work after school, and when I came home, I just cried. I don't think I'm cut out for teaching, and I'm
Ah,
terrified to go back. Meeting with the Observer tomorrow morning. I am so stressed, and I really don't want to do this anymore. This is my last week of practicum, and I couldn't be more excited for Friday. Student teaching is going to be a nightmare.
hmm.
That's a heavy one,
That is a
especially
heavy one.
from us who are veterans who enjoy this profession. And
Right. No.
look, if we, you know what?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Every day. I enjoy it.
All right, what's your reaction? What stands out to you there?
It happens, you know? It happens.
Yeah,
And technology never works on the day you need it.
and
That's
here's
that's how
the
it goes.
lesson. Here's the lesson from the House of Ed Tech. You've got to have more tricks in your bag, up your sleeve.
Hmm.
And again, this person is in their practicum. So they're not even doing full-time student teaching from what I'm picking
Right.
up.
Right.
So this person, there's a lot to learn here, but I don't think there's enough here for this person or any practicum or novice educator to feel like I'm going to hang it up before my career even starts.
Yeah, that's the thing right there.
But it also speaks
Like the,
to these young people who, oh, there's adversity. Let me quit.
yeah, you got to have the resiliency. You have to be able to bounce back, you know, and I think that's really important, you know, because you have to understand that lessons are going to happen. I had one of my first years teaching, probably I don't think it was my first year, it could have been my second year. And we were trying some new initiatives in school, and I really wanted to show that like I'm focused and I wanted the initiatives to work in my classroom. And I think I tried some stuff, and I think the lesson was an absolute disaster. No technology really involved at that point, but like just the things I was trying to do just didn't work. The kids weren't getting it. I was a little all over the place, you know, and my supervisor at the time sat with me afterwards and she said, "It's not one of your best ones, and that's not who you are." And she said to me, "Why don't we schedule another observation?" She goes, "Because I know what you're trying to do. It didn't work. Why don't we do something else instead?" I was like, wow. And that was it right there for me. You know, that was like my moment of this is how you should be treated, you know? And I think I kind of live by that now too. And I always say to, you know, the teachers in my building that, you know, if we schedule an observation and like we schedule a pre-observation and they're sitting there and like, I don't know what I'm really going to do. I'm kind of going back and forth on two things. I just look at them and say, "Hey, do you need more time? Like, can I help you push this back a day? Do you like?" I think it's just part of the conversation, you know, and hopefully I wish we knew what the end result here was, but like hopefully the observer saw the issues and saw the frustrations and was able to kind of talk this person down instead of bashing them for the negatives that they noticed. Like Chris, I'm sure you have an observation in mind that was probably your worst observation.
That's not a story I'm prepared to tell on the air
You don't have to.
because
I'm
it's
just
just
saying.
that ridiculous, but for sure.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, I mentioned to you before we really started recording that I had my unannounced observation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when my VP came in, you know, it was a day where, just to create context, we had spent a whole month on imperialism, and my kids had looked at some case studies on imperialism by the British in India, Asia, and South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So after we had done all that tedious primary source document work, the project that I did was I had them work in groups to create board games that were based on the concepts. So some historical board game, you know, so they were making games. So the dates that I gave her that she could kind of come in when she's like, "Hey, I'd like to come in and not tell you exactly when," which is nice. I said, "You know, here's some dates, here's what's going on." And she came in and she was like, "Oh, well, like, what are they doing?" I said, "Oh, they're working in their groups, and I'm about to go around and conference with each group about where they're at. They've, you know, been working on these games for a couple of days, and, you know, here's where we're at. And then after this, we're going to spend a day or two in class where they will get to play the games, and they've got to have rules and have gone through this, and it's all based on what they pulled out of these case studies and what they understand about imperialism." So she was like, "Well, do you want me to come back to see them play the games? I was like, no, I want you to see them working and like figuring this stuff out and, kind of do the conferencing thing.
Mm.
So the part that made it interesting was that, where I go around and like talking with the groups and she can kind of hear everything. But she sat down. I have the kids sitting in groups. The desks are grouped together. And she sat down across from a girl who has probably cut my class upwards of 30 times this year.
Mm.
And happened to be in class this day, half her head down, half on her phone, not engaged in the activity at all. So when she was done after about 25 minutes, she was like, so what's going on with this one? And I just explained, hey, she's in my classroom today. She's not in the hallway walking around. And I've exhausted basically the options. I've communicated with home. I've communicated with her guidance counselor. This is where we're at. So she happens to be in the room today. This is what it is.
Of course. Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, it's about that communication piece, no matter what you do.
I'm just looking to see if there is a follow-up to this.
No.
But I'm not seeing anything.
Okay. Yeah. It's unfortunate, but again, have that communication. If you aren't happy with your observation, go to your observer and say, if you reflect on it first, maybe before they write it up, it'll be better for you in the end. If you're that nervous.
Especially in a practicum or student teaching setting,
right.
You should have lots of questions and be ready to soak up people's advice. Your cooperating teacher, the observer from the school.
You should bomb an observation in that situation.
Yeah.
Like you have to, because like if you're doing great things already, sums up.
It's possible to do great things, but you're not going to be a distinguished educator.
No, exactly.
At that stage, you've got things to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And I can speak confidently on that, having worked with a number of student teachers over the last 5 years.
I was going to say, you've had 4 and 5 years?
Yeah. And as good as they are, there's also those,
there's moments,
at least from my perspective, it's like, hey, we need to talk about A, B, and C.
Yep. You got to learn.
Got to learn. All right. You ready for our last question?
I think so.
All right. First, did you enjoy this format of bringing in these different kinds of topics and questions?
Oh, me personally? Yeah, I dig it. I like that. Something different.
All right. You who's listening or watching, let us know what you thought of this. And if you've got a question or a scenario or something you want to hear us talk about, and maybe our wisdom, maybe we'll help some people.
Our wisdom.
Our wisdom.
It's a good one.
All right. And now that I see where this last question came in, now I understand why you said you probably saw it. All right. So I kind of put this out to the House of Ed Tech group chat where I said, AJ and I want to answer questions on tonight's podcast. Send me 1 or 2 questions you'd like us to tackle. And Stephanie came through. I don't know which Stephanie. I don't have a last name. Could be Stephanie Scrocky. Could be Stephanie Howell. I don't know. Could be Stephanie somebody else.
Could be anybody.
Stephanie. Here's her question. Is it pork roll or Taylor ham? Now, if you're not in New Jersey, you have no idea what the we're talking about.
Wow. Didn't see that one coming.
But here we go. AJ?
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Because we're going to have different answers here, so just go for it.
Okay. And Stephanie said in the chat, this is a good format.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Stephanie.
Oh, and Stephanie said it was her.
It was. Yeah, I figured as much.
Look at her throwing kerosene on the podcast. All right. It's pork roll. Period. Stop. Thanks for coming, everybody. We'll see you at the end of April.
We're going to disagree.
Concede. Go ahead.
I'm not conceding, because when I go to the deli and if I want something, it's Taylor ham. It's for my location, it's Taylor ham. And that's
what would happen if you walked in and said it the right way?
I don't know.
Try it. We do an experiment.
But I don't eat that. I haven't really been eating that stuff. So like,
Get it for your boy before you go to practice.
Oh God.
It's bigger than him. All right, here's what we do.
I mean, I'm sure they would like give it to me, because it's not like it's out of the ordinary.
No, it's not out of
the ordinary. They would probably they would look at me weird up here as they would look at me weird down there if I said it my way.
I'm willing to go and order one and order it AJ's way.
See if they know what that is. I'd like an AJ's way, please.
Is that like going to Jersey Mike's? I want to get it Mike Trout's way.
Right, exactly. I mean, look, dude. I don't know.
Here's where I stand on it. Obviously, because I say it's pork roll. Taylor ham is the brand.
Yeah.
Pork roll is what you're buying.
I don't know.
Now, granted, Taylor ham doesn't make any other products that I'm aware of.
So there you go.
But I'd be willing to try other Taylor ham products.
I have no idea anymore. I'll be honest with you.
Okay. Ruth.
Thanks for joining us, Ruth.
She joined us. She said, thanks for the podcast, guys.
Thank
you
you
for watching, Ruth. All right.
I don't know. That's why I guess maybe that's why I go bacon, egg, and cheese sometimes.
Oh, you poor guy.
I like bacon, egg, and cheese, man. Extra bacon, crispy.
Oh, I do extra pork roll. Extra die sooner.
There you go, right? Bacon, egg, and cheese. Egg whites.
Oh, my God. You know, that's just aggravating for the grill chef.
It's not, though. He enjoys it.
Making egg whites? No, he
He
doesn't.
does. I don't know.
The yolks lube it up.
I get it, but like when I go in there and I'm like, he's like, egg whites? I'm like, yep.
Okay, so you've established a relationship.
In some places. Depends.
That's like the pizza place I go to before I go to Rutgers sometimes now.
Mm-hmm.
I for the first time this semester, I walked in and the guy was already putting my slices in the oven. He goes, "You want the usual?" I was like, "Yes, sir."
You like that? See, like, so I like when places do that.
Yes, you
know, there's
take the time.
Yeah, there's a coffee shop by me. He's like, "Hey, AJ, you want your latte?" I'm like, "I want my latte." But like other places I go to, and like I don't go there a lot anymore. But like when I used to go, I'm like, "What can I get you?" I'm like, "What do you mean? What can I get you?" I come in here every Saturday. What do you mean? Like, you don't know?
Hey, you're
That bothers me. That bothers me. But it's all good. It's okay.
It's all good. All right.
Hey.
If you enjoyed this conversation, thank you. Get us your thoughts and feedback. If you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address, we'd be happy to consider that in the future. And we want to thank you for that. You can email us feedback@podcastpd.com. You can also visit podcastpd.com/feedback, where you can send a message, you can send a voicemail, and we record this podcast the last Sunday of the month. Now, there's a reason we're here on Sunday, March 24th, because next Sunday, the Easter Bunny rolls out of his cave to find the eggs.
That's how it goes.
Yes.
Easter Bunny has risen.
Yes, that's a Family Guy joke. All right.
No,
we do want to tackle your questions, so please send us your feedback. As I look at the calendar there, AJ, we would be scheduled to be back on Sunday, April 28th, 2024. And at that time, I will be a year older,
You will.
a year wiser.
Well, older, yes.
Thanks, buddy.
No problem.
Yes. Come out to Chris's birthday bash on Sunday, April 28th.
Oh my God, we're going to sing to you.
You know what? You can sing to me, AJ.
There you go.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode. Wave goodbye. Say goodbye.
Take it easy. See you next time.
See ya.